Here's everything I'm doing on my current back and bicep split. So first, I always start with like at least 30 minutes of cardio. I recommend 150 minutes a week minimum. So the first thing I'm going to do is lat pull downs, wide grip. I'm trying to hit the upper back. I always recommend doing at least 2 to 3 warm-up sets. Every muscle group you're going to hit, you're always going to warm up. I usually do 25% of the weight, 50%, 75%, and then I hit my hard set. Also, this is also preference depending on how much you're into training and I guess how advanced you are, but I take every set to failure and then beyond with partials. So right here, my cues are I'm going to be bringing the bar down to about midway on my chest. I'm going to go up at the top and get a really big stretch. I'm always going to go slow on the negative and explode down. Every single exercise you do, you should be doing it with control and with intention. You shouldn't be just throwing weights around. You want to get a big stretch on every workout you do. You want to really milk that negative and you want to get as much gains as possible. You don't really want to have a lot of body language and cheating. So lower the weights, leave your ego at the door, and yeah, you pretty much want to make sure you get a good workout. But this is what I'm starting off with to hit my back, upper back, and to get started on my day. And then next after this, I like to do single arm lat pulls. So we'll just get to the end of this set here. I start cranking partials. Once I'm not able to go down more than maybe like a quarter of an inch, that is when I'll re-rack and I'll end the session. So starting off here on the first arm, my cue is going to be to drive my elbow down to my hip, and I'm going to extend all the way out at the end. And you see, I kind of turn my body a little bit to really reach that lat over, and I want it to stretch as far as possible when I pull down. And once again, you don't really want to go too heavy on these, and you always want to make sure you're pulling through your elbows. That's going to be really good for lat development. You want to really pull through your elbows. You don't really want your biceps and your shoulders to be doing most of the work. So a lot of this is going to be pulling through your elbows. And again, you're always going slow on the eccentric. And this is pretty much a staple of my workouts. I like to start with something upper back focus, and then I like to go into these lat pulls. I'm just coming back to the gym now off of surgery, so this may change in my current split, but usually this is what I'm doing right about now. I don't do a lot of like one hand, one legged things, but this is like one thing I really enjoy doing just because I like the burn that it gets in my back. I like the stretch that I get. But as you can see, we're always going on a slow tempo. Really want to milk that negative. We're always going to take our time with it. And yeah, going back to what I said earlier though about the cardio, I recommend everyone do some type of cardio, at least 5 to 10,000 steps a day if you're trying to be in shape. Also, just to be healthy, you want your heart to be healthy. You want your heart to be strong. It'll help your recovery. It'll help you feel better. So definitely, you always want to get your cardio in. Also, I usually do about 3 sets of every exercise. I forgot to mention that, and I usually want to do around 12 reps is where I want to start failing doing partial. So I recommend like 8 to 15 reps. That's what I like for me. I don't want my reps too low because I want to get injured. I don't want to really lift heavy. I want to lift with intention, but I don't want my reps too high. So my next one is going to be this lat pullover. This gives me like a huge stretch. My cues for this, I'm going to bend down. I'm going to arch my back at the back, and I'm going to drive through my elbows, and I'm going to bring my hands almost like I'm trying to put my hands like in my pockets or like to the waistline of my pants. Um, I'm gonna go all the way up. I'm gonna let the weight pull my lats out of my body. Like I want to feel like my lats are like literally coming out of my body when I'm letting them stretch at the top. I'm gonna pull down through my elbows all the way down to my waist and really feel the stretch. These give me a big stretch. And so next, I'm kind of experimenting with rear delt exercises. I only really throw one in because I know when you do back, you're definitely hitting rear delts, especially if you do upper back. But I like to do just an isometric, or not an isometric, but I like to just isolate the rear delts. Pretty much, I feel like the front delts always get hit from bench pressing and dipping. And you're obviously doing a lot of side laterals to build the shoulders. So one thing that gets neglected is probably a lot of rear delt training. So I think I like this better than the pec deck. I may change it, but this is what I'm currently experimenting with in my split, and yeah, it feels good. So on these, I'm trying to keep my arms as straight as possible. I'm not trying to use a lot of body language or shrug with my traps. I'm trying to use the weight all into my rear delts. I want my rear delt to be really feeling this. I don't want to go all the way down, but I want to really drive up and squeeze and control the weight coming down, and I really want to feel that burn and get those rear delts activated. So this is currently what I'm doing. Feels good for me, so why not? Next is my last two exercises for biceps. So the first one, I like to do this curl where my arms are behind me because I like to do a curl where my arms are in front of me. I like to do one behind me. Um, this really gives me a good stretch when my arms come all the way back because my biceps are extended all the way. And once again, on these, I only use like 22.5 pounds, not lifting heavy. I want to make sure I'm getting 8 to 12 reps. I want to make sure I'm controlling it, really getting a squeeze and the blood flow into my biceps. I want to make sure I'm coming down slow. Even if the set is hurting, you shouldn't be dropping the weights fast. When the set really starts to burn, that's when you should be dropping the weight, probably even slower. You really want to get those gains. This is maybe not for the average person. You may show up, train like garbage, throw the weight around. You may get like 70, 80% of the gains, but people who want to get, all the gains, if you're going to go to the gym consistently, you want all the gains. So make sure you're really taking your time on that negative. I want my elbows, even on these preacher curls in front of me, I want my elbows to be like a light switch. I don't want a lot of body language. I don't want a lot of swaying and moving. I want to just bend right at my elbows, make sure the biceps are hitting the entire time. I want to control the negative, and it's pretty much what I'm doing the entire time. Gonna make sure I really get a big squeeze. Obviously, every single set go to failure. Then I do partials. I do 3 sets of everything. For me, this is what I do. I recover pretty fast. I don't recommend everybody train like me. Obviously, everybody's different, but I do recommend every set you should be challenging yourself unless you're a beginner. Then you want to kind of ease your way into it. Each time you want to go a little bit harder. If you're too sore, maybe go less hard. If you're not sore at all, maybe go a little bit more hard. So if you're new, you want to base your body off of how you're feeling. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole back and biceps workout, my current split. So let me know what you think.